was watching some of my old videos today, like from several years ago and some of my first videos on this channel, and I realized just how miserable of a person I used to be. And all of that misery and all of that depression stemmed mostly around the fact that I didn't have a boyfriend. I never really understood just how much it bothered me back then until now. Like, every single day I would think about it, it would weigh heavily on me, the fact that I was alone, the fact that I felt in my mind and in my heart that in order to be accepted by other gay men that I needed to be very sexual and that I needed to find somebody, a boyfriend, and I needed to date people profusely. And now that it's been several years since that stage in my life, I look back on it and I'm like, I could have saved myself so much sadness. When we're sad, sometimes we don't realize that it's our thoughts that end up deceiving us in the end, and making us think that we would be the perfect person if we only had something like that in our lives. But I've honestly been single for the past 4 months, for the most part, and I have never been happier, and for the first time in my life, I don't feel like I need to validate myself by being with someone. Maybe it takes a very negative relationship to experience that. I was at a very low point the latter half of 2013, and now that I look back on it, I've grown so much. I've embraced that insecurity, and I've realized that I'm perfect single. It really pains me to see how many people are so dependent on being in a relationship, and when they're not in a relationship, they resort to trying to alleviate themselves through drinking or drugs or things like that. And I'm here to tell you guys who are experiencing that you will find someone else. You will find someone else. Just because you may think that you may have been in love, like the most perfect love ever, and he was your soulmate or she was your soulmate, love happens repeatedly. Like, in life, you love multiple times. Love takes on a different form because every time we love and every time we lose it, we learn more about ourselves because of it. I think people need to realize that if they just look at losses as a learning experience, they'll be able to better cope and better open their hearts to the next opportunity that comes to them. I remember every day when I was in school, I would walk to class, go to lunch and dinner and everything, and in my mind I was always thinking about everybody else in a relationship and how happy they were. And didn't realize that happiness stems from the self. And a lot of those people who may think they need a relationship, seem happy, their relationship may not last because they themselves aren't happy. Happiness is always the best route to start growing from. And it's really freeing understanding that now. I really wish I would have understood that back then, but you know what? Better late than never, right? So if you're single, don't fret over it. Like, I have made the change over the past several years of my life, and I am so happy, and I know that you guys can do the same thing. You will find somebody. Just keep your mind and heart open, because that person's out there, and that person's gonna see a confident individual once you open up your heart, and they're gonna be like, I need to be with that person. That person is beautiful. I need that person. Watch. It'll happen. You guys have a good night. I love you all.